Part 1, Fundamental Principles. Lesson 1, The Arcane Teaching. The arcane teaching has come down to the present age through the corridors of time. From the dim ages of past eras, races, and school of thought, even those highest in the council of the custodians of the scroll are unable to trace the teaching in an unbroken direct line further back than the time of Pythagoras, about 500 BC, and a little later to ancient Greece, although they may find many reference to and extracts from the teachings of ancient Egypt and Chaldea, which serve to show that the Pythagorean and ancient Grecian arcane schools were founded on occult instructions still more remote, received in a direct line of succession of teachers and pupils extending over centuries. Investigators have found traces of the arcane teaching in the records of Persia and Media, and it is believed that the inspiration for the original philosophical teaching, not the religion or the pessimism involved, however, of Gautama, the founder of Buddhism, was received from arcane sources. Traces are also to be found in the Hebrew esoteric teachings of the Kabbalah and the Zohar. The Grecian arcane teaching was undoubtedly obtained directly from Egyptian sources through Pythagoras, the relation between the early Grecian teachings and philosophies and the older school of Old Egypt being very close and intimate. Pythagoras is known to have received instruction from Egyptian and Persian hierophants. Besides the traditions of the arcane, there is to be found the closest resemblance between the ancient Grecian teachings and those of the Egyptian esoteric fraternities. Some of the teachers, however, hold that the Grecian and Egyptian schools respectively were but two separate offshoots of an original and older teaching which had its origin in the lost continent of Atlantis. There are many arcane traditions connecting the teachings with Atlantis, and it is possible that both Egypt and Greece received it from this common source, instead of Greece being indebted to Egypt for the line of transmission. But be this as it may, it is a fact that all of the traces of teaching that the various occult schools gather from the traditions, scraps of doctrine, and legends regarding Atlantis can be reconciled with the Grecian arcane teaching. And it is also a fact that the fragments of the Egyptian esoteric teachings, many of which are still preserved in an undoubted direct line of succession, are practically identical in fundamental and basic points with the Grecian arcane teaching. And as we have said, the Persian, Median, and Chaldean legends and traditions and scraps of teaching show a common source of origin with that of ancient Greece. We are speaking now of the historical view of the subject alone. The traditions of the arcanes hold that the teaching in some form is as old as the race itself, and that it has been known to the advanced minds of every great civilization of the past, many of which disappeared thousands upon thousands of years ago, all traces of them having been lost to the present sub-race. The traditions hold that the teaching was handed down from the elder brethren of the race, certain advanced souls who appeared in the earlier days in order to plant the seeds of truth, so that they would grow, blossom, and bear fruit throughout the ages to follow. We do not ask you to accept this statement. It is not material. The teaching bears the evidence of its own truth within itself without needing the belief in any such authority. It agrees with the highest reason and intuition of man, and to those who are ready to receive it, it shows itself as true. We mention the ancient traditions only that you may know what is accepted as truth by those high in authority among the arcanes. The word arcane is derived from the Latin word arcanus, meaning shut up, closed, hidden away, being derived from arca, meaning a treasure chest. The English word means hidden, concealed, secret, esoteric, mystic, so the term the arcane teaching means the secret doctrine. The arcanes are a loosely organized body of men who have lived in all countries and all times since the days of the ancient Greece and probably for thousands of years before. They keep alive the old teachings, traditions, legends, and instructions, and give the same to the few whom they meet who are deemed ready to receive the same. The innermost teaching is never written or printed, and is passed from mouth to ear, from teacher to student, from hierophant to neophyte, as in the old days. Much of this inner teaching is of a nature that readers it most advisable that it be reserved for a few, for it contains instructions of a nature that would cause it to be dangerous were it to fall into unworthy hands. Even as it is, bits of it have leaked out from time to time, and falling into the hands of unworthy persons have been used improperly. Every student of occultism is aware of the danger of which we speak, but the general principle of the arcane teaching have always been offered freely to those who felt attracted to them and by them. Portions of them may be found in the various schools of the Hermetic philosophy and among the Rosicrucian and similar teachings. In Freemasonry, there are hints of the ancient teachings, carefully disguised and unrecognized by the ordinary member of the order. The exception to the rule regarding written or printed teaching is to be found in what the arcanes know as the arcane scroll, which contains many arcane aphorisms or statements of teaching, and which are written and renewed from time to time. The authorized copies are in the hands of special persons high in the arcane councils who are known as the custodians of the scroll, and who are to be found in every country of the globe, unknown and working silently. These persons belong to all walks of life and society and carefully avoid notoriety or public attention in order to escape the sensational exploitation of the press and the idle curiosity of the wonder seekers who are to be found everywhere. While many of these arcane aphorisms have to do with special branches of the teaching and are not allowed to be printed and distributed generally, still the custodians have always been willing that the fundamental aphorisms be quoted from in writing in books on the subject. Accordingly, we shall embody a number of the arcane aphorisms in this series of lessons, always quoting them as such and printing them in darker type, that they may be distinguished from our own comments and explanations and personal interpretation. These aphorisms contain the highest occult truth and principles, and we are very glad to have been accorded the privilege of presenting them to our students. The arcane teaching is based upon the fundamental principle of the existence of an absolute supreme power, which is the cause and reason of the cosmos and all the manifestations contained therein, all that men call the universe. This absolute supreme power is known in the arcane teaching as the law, and is represented in the symbol by the word lex. The law is regarded as an abstract principle of power, impossible of being represented by words or even by symbols. It is not a pantheistic deity or being. It is an absolute principle, beyond definition or description. It does not manifest itself in a universe of shapes and forms by separating itself into the many as the pantheistic being is held to do in certain philosophies. Instead of this, it causes universal being to proceed from infinite not being, causes the cosmos to arise from chaos, causes manifestation to arise from the unmanifest, causes everything to arise from infinite nothing. The law is not being, but the cause of being. It cannot be said to be in the ordinary sense. It causes the verb to be to have a meaning. The arcane teaching is not pantheism, either expressed or implied, either frankly stated or subtly concealed behind words. The absolute can never become the relative. The law can never separate itself into bits of you and I, nor is the cosmos to be regarded as a nightmare dream, meditation, illusion, delusion, or imagination of the absolute, as some of the philosophical schools of India and the pessimistic schools of the West would have men believe, against all the natural intuition of the race. The law does not dream, meditate, imagine, or think. Neither is it deluded or subject to illusion, delusion, or ignorance, as some have thought. These are but qualities belonging to beings. The law is above beings, and even above being. To hold otherwise is to degrade it, and to deny its absoluteness. The arcane teaching holds that other than the law, there is but infinity, which is nothingness. The teaching distinguishes between the absolute law and infinity, in which it differs from the majority of other philosophies, which holds them to be identical. But this daring conception is defended and proven to be logical by the arcane teachers, and in this teaching it is to be found the only rational explanation of the cause and manifestation of the cosmos. The nothingness of infinity is not a condition of notness, but a condition or state of no-thingness. Infinity is an infinite no-thing, in which, however, sleeps the latency, possibility, potency, and promise of everything past, present, and future. In its infinite nothingness, no thing is in actuality, but everything is in latency and possibility under the law. The arcane teaching on the subject of the infinity of nothingness is a startling revelation to those who have been searching for the truth in other philosophies, but who have found themselves wandering round and round in a mental circle, never arriving anywhere. The infinity of nothingness is capable of logical and rational proof. This doctrine flies squarely in the face of the current philosophical dogmas of "from nothing, no thing comes," or "ex nihilo, nihil fit." On the contrary, it boldly asserts, "from nothing, everything comes," or "ex nihilo, omnis fit." But it must be remembered that this nothing contains within itself the possibility, latency, and promise of everything. It is a no thing instead of a knot. The arcane teachings hold that at the expiration of the great cycle of time, after eons of cosmic night or period of infinite nothingness, the law moves over the emptiness of infinity, and the first activities of a new cosmic day or manifest cosmos begin to show themselves. The first manifestation is the cosmic will or life principle. This cosmic will is the one life of the cosmos, which many philosophies mistakenly claim to be the absolute itself. It is the universal being, but it is under the law and relative to it, and is not absolute. From this cosmic will, logos, demiurge, world spirit, or universal life principle is manifested the cosmos, or manifested universe of life, shape, and form. The cosmos is alive in every part, and its real nature vests in the cosmic will, which is never behind, under, and in all manifestations of the universal action from lowest to the highest. Here is the world spirit, or pantheistic one all, but it is under the law. In the cosmos is contained the three principles of substance, motion, and consciousness, respectively. From the three principles arise all the infinite variety of combinations of mind, energy, and matter, which go to make up the varieties of manifestations in the universe. The arcane teaching includes the doctrine of perpetual evolution of substance, energy, and consciousness, respectively, on all the various planes of activity. The teaching is that there are infinite planes of evolution, in groups of 7, which are subdivided in 7, and so on. The arcane teaching holds that the cosmos is regulated by the 7 laws, which are superimposed by the law upon the cosmic will, and thus upon all that is manifested. These 7 laws are as follow. 1. The law of orderly trend. Under this law, there is always manifested law and order in the cosmos, from suns to atom, from highest to lowest, matter, energy, and mind. There is no disorder, inharmony, or chance in the cosmos. 2. The law of analogy. Under this law, there is found a correspondence and agreement between all of the various forms of manifestation. What is true of the atom is true of the sun. What is true of the amoeba is true of man and beings above man. What is true of matter is true of energy and mind. To know one is to know all. As above, so below, as the Hermeticists express it. Ex uno dis omnis. From one know all, as the arcane axiom said. This law is applied in studying the higher planes. They may be known by the lower, just as solar systems may be known by studying the atoms and the molecules. 3. The law of sequence. Under this law, there is included the activities of what is generally known as cause and effect. Nothing happens by chance. Nothing happens without a precedent manifestation and a subsequent manifestation. Everything has its before and after things. Nothing stands alone and independent of what has gone before, nor can it escape from acting upon that which comes after. Everything proceeds from something and is succeeded by something. 4. The law of rhythm. Under this law falls a variety of phenomena, among which is the important phenomena of vibration. Everything is in constant vibration, everything material, mental, or of energy. Upon this fact depends the variety, degrees, states, and conditions of the manifestation of the cosmos. All is in vibration, physical, mental, and spiritual. Vibration is the key of relative power and relative activities. To control vibration is to control all forces in the universe. The control of vibration forms an important part of the arcane formula. 5. The law of balance. Under this law, there is to be found an explanation for the universal equilibrium, compensation, and balance observed in all of the manifestations of the cosmos. One thing balances another in the physical, mental, and spiritual. Everything has something set opposite it to balance it. Everything has its compensation. Everything has its cosmic price. In an understanding of the law of balance, there is to be found the secret of power and poise. The arcane teaching contains formulas for balance. 6. The law of cyclicity. Under this law is found the cyclic or circular trend of all things, physical, mental, and spiritual. Everything moves in circles. The wise and strong convert the circles into spirals instead of traveling around in an eternal circle. The wise and strong rise in spirals to attainment and advancement. Worlds and atoms, cosmos and man, are all under this law and move in accordance therewith. To convert the circle into the spiral is one of the arcane secrets conveyed in its formulas. 7. The law of opposites. Under this law is to be found the explanation of that wonderful fact in nature, the fact that everything has its opposite. Everything is and is not at the same time. Everything has its other side. Every truth is but a half-truth. Everything is a paradox. Every thesis has its antithesis. Every truth contains a bit of untruth, and every untruth a bit of truth. Every male contains female. Every female contains male. Also the fact that opposite things are alike in the end. The extremes meet. The contradictions may be reconciled. In this great cosmic law is found the fact that diametrically opposite things, physical, mental, and spiritual, are in reality but the different poles of the same thing. In this law is found the mystery of polarity. In it vests the secret of sex generation and regeneration. The arcane teaching embraces all of these. The arcane teaching as presented in these lessons will include the arcane formulas whereby the 7 laws may be applied under the mind and will of the individual, enabling him to take advantage of the flood tide of rhythm and to neutralize the ebb tide, to enable him to neutralize the opposites, to find and hold the balance and poise, to convert the cycles into rising spirals, to take advantage of the law of sequence, thus to master fate, instead of being her slave, to conquer laws by laws, to oppose principle to principle, to acquire the art of mental alchemy, or transmutation of mental states and conditions. These and many other fields of occult knowledge will the arcane teaching open out to the earnest seeker. To those who are ready, this teaching will appeal. Do you feel attracted to it? Then follow the leading of your intuition. If not, pass by it for the present, for you are not prepared. Instead, call the attention of some person more ready to it, and thus be an instrument of the law.